dudes and lady dudes, John here, and if there's noise in the background, it's a new 3D printer that came in early. We'll kind of test out the sound here, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. But today's topic, are we at war? And I'm not talking about coronavirus, I'm not talking about our troops overseas, I am talking about the left versus right war that couch patriots everywhere are just saying that when it comes, they will crush and win, and yet it's come, it's started, and the left has a huge advantage because they're actually fighting. They're actually getting physically violent at times too. Black Lives Matter inspired cop killings, Antifa attacking everyone, old people, young people, teenagers, anyone from 60 to 16 to 76 kind of thing, 96, 86. I forget what it was here in Toronto or Ottawa where it happened last year, but they're getting physically attacked. They're attacking institutions. Their schools are just overrun with leftists. It's like universities, like 60% of universities don't have like a single professor that identifies as a conservative, and over 90 of professors, are actively, they call themselves liberals, or they're not even liberal anymore. Like there's kind of that PragerU has a good video dividing what a true liberal is versus today's leftism that kind of went extreme. Um, and it's kind of it's frustrating because you sit you sit on your couches for 6 to 8 hours a day, 4 to 8 hours a day on the internet, and when that war comes, meanwhile it's here. Talked about immigrants, illegal immigration for the 2020 election, just how many votes that'll get in. There's estimate numbers of, 10% of votes are fraudulent. Could be 20% this year with Corona and voting ballots. Is that true? I don't know, but kind of makes sense. And we've known about voter fraud for decades. This is nothing new. When John lived down in the U.S. for a little bit, it was down there in the 90s. People talked about it. Grandma voted Republican her whole life until she died. Then she voted Democrat. That thing's been around for at least since the 90s. People don't do anything. Like, well, I'll go out and vote, and that'll be my. That's how they're fighting the war. Even this week, some people I do this. This is my stance online. The stance that I push back on conservative groups online because they're very passive and lazy and hypocritical, and that's I just got it yesterday, but it's a common thing. Well, we're going to vote them out in November. That's no, that's not the war. That's barely a battle. First of all, primaries are so important now because of all the socialist leftists in disguise coming out and conservative parties. We had that issue here in Canada. Last year's election, getting close to election day, and no one wanted Trudeau in, but then you just kind of saw that he's going to win because the candidates that we have, there's way too much pandering, and it's really not a pull away from that extreme leftist shift. So people aren't confident, they're not going to go out and vote. And sure enough, Trudeau won. Scheer did win the popular vote. I don't know why up here it's okay for Trudeau to win without the popular vote, but Trump needs it. Leftism. But yeah, that's just the way it is. That you could see that, and coming into, look at Trump's first 2 years. He had the House and the Senate, but he actually didn't have the Senate because of these leftists disguise. The rhinos of the United States. It's everywhere. It's part of the war. The average grunt, whatever, on the ground leftist, they're not they're not thinking these things through. But the people higher up pulling the strings, they're thinking this through, and they're very smart. They're planning these things out. They're decades plans, willing to do it. LBJ, he says that they're going to implement something so that black people vote Democrats for the next 300 years. It's been like 50 years or 60 years, and he's been pretty bang on so far. See, Kanye West is like, wait a second, guys, why are we doing this? And everyone's like, oh, I even calling them names, but that's the war, and they're successful. They've been doing it. They've been shifting and putting in motion. They've been planting people in the conservative and the right-wing parties to just disrupt it and riling it up and controlling even people on the right that talk about it all the time, that you are just as controlled by the media, even if you hate the media, because they will push the buttons just right so you react exactly the way they need you to react to turn moderates. The war has started, people, and we're losing. Don't wait for the war to start. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean go get your rifle and start shooting people. Yeah, one person's a crazy person. Maybe if we got like 1 million people, then we could start threatening that. Just like, all right, we're going to reset the countries. Americas, if you do that, please come liberate us. But yeah, so we are at war. Stop waiting for it. It's a war of information. It's a war of misinformation. Just it's maneuvering. It's voter fraud. It's these sort of things: buying politicians, buying judges, buying lawyers, buying companies, or companies buying things, and yeah, it's kind of a sucky thing. Wake up call. We're not winning. If you like this video, you know what to do. If you don't like this video, go feed a homeless person. Let me know how many in the below you fed. That's what we do here on the channel. We don't just hit the thumbs down. We go out and we spike John by feeding the homeless. Stay tuned tomorrow for Theory Thursday. Don't know what the theory is yet, but I didn't last week and I thought it was okay. Kind of spur of the moment. There are a lot of theories out there just kicking around in John's head. Which one will we focus on? I got an idea actually, and it's not too crazy of one actually. I think it's actually pretty serious, which is why I'm bringing it up today. Thursday's not really a serious day. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.